Good morning. It is Saturday, June 2nd at about 12 o'clock p.m. I want to talk to you about why I decided to get in this fight to begin with. Let me get over here so you have a little bit better light so you can see my ugly face. Sorry. The reason I decided to get into this fight is because of the kid that's sitting in that room right next to me. I'm in my garage right now. This is where I come to hang out, chill out, drink beer, watch, do YouTube, all sorts of stuff. Okay, but this is where I come to just hang out, chill out, listen to music, drink beer, that kind of thing. About 2 years ago, my wife and I started talking about getting a dog for our kid. He'll be 9 next week, okay? And he is, like every parent on earth will say about their kid, he is my life, okay? So we decided, though, to start looking for a dog to get for my kid. And because to me, it's almost un-American for a kid to grow up without the companionship of a dog. So we started looking at dogs. What kind of dog should we get? And in the interest of full disclosure, we do not currently own a dog. The reason we don't own a dog is because we don't have the time to dedicate to the dog. It's not fair to us, it's not fair to our kid, and it's certainly not fair to the dog. Okay? So with that in mind, we decided so far we can't get a dog. But a couple of years ago, when things were going really well for us, we had money coming in and I was working all the time, and we had time to dedicate to the dog, right? But so we started to look for a dog, and she wanted to get the usual kind of dog, like a golden retriever or a lab, something like that. And I wanted to get something a little bit different. I wanted to get something like a boxer, or not necessarily a boxer, but something like a Boston Terrier, a Springer Spaniel, something different. There's a little bit of pep and just a different kind of dog. So as I started looking, I asked the question, obviously, what's the best kind of dog that you should get for your kid, right? And of course, the Bichon Frise comes up. They're okay. Golden Retrievers came up, of course. Boxers came up, and this whole slew of dogs came up that make the ideal pet for your kid. Not pet, but companion, because I personally don't like the idea of referring to a dog as a pet. It's a dog. It's a companion. So, we kicked around the idea of getting a beagle, because beagles are sweet dogs. They don't harm anybody. To the best of my knowledge, they haven't killed anybody except for one case, which was a complete freak accident. If you are aware of more than that, then please illustrate that and let me know. But we thought about getting a beagle. Not really a good idea to get a beagle, because beagles need a lot of room to run around in, and they need a lot of exercise, and not the ideal house dog. Okay, they want to be out in the field and doing whatever a beagle does, right? And besides that, they are noisy as hell. Okay. And so we decided not to go for a beagle. We looked at all sorts of dogs. And she kind of, I don't want to say she lost interest in it, but she started getting wrapped up in other things to do. And so she decided to kind of just slow down a little bit. I, however, wanted a dog. So I kept looking and started looking at, all these different breeds of dog. And I couldn't really come up with a really good idea for what we should get for our dog or for our kid. So instead of asking the question, what's the best kind of dog? I thought of what's the worst kind of dog you can get for your kid. One of the worst dogs you can get is a border collie. Okay. Okay, maybe not worst, but ideal. It might not be the ideal dog for your kid. And the reason being is because it's a herding dog. I mean, that's what they're bred for, is to herd sheep, right? So you get a border collie in a house, and there's a kid. What do you think he's going to do? It's chasing them all over the house, right? So I've seen that happen before with people who have border collies, and just not a good idea to get a border collie for a first-time dog for your kid. And then over time, though, the question went from what's the worst kind of dog to what's the most dangerous kind of dog. That's where the difference came in. Okay. Now, there are a lot of people who are going to get really angry at me. I don't care. Sorry. People are going to get really angry at me because the dogs that I'm going to mention are a lot of people who just, they have these dogs and they're sweetheart dogs. A lot of them are. And I'll give you as I tell these stories, I'm going to give you a couple of scenarios about why I feel the way I do about this dog or that dog. Now, one of the worst dogs that came up, and best dog, I don't understand this, the dichotomy here. One of the worst dogs you can get and one of the best dogs you can get is a German Shepherd for your kid. I personally don't get that. Because, as we all know, German Shepherds, they can do some damage to a child, right? I mean, that's not up for debate. It's just the way it is. German Shepherds, Cane Corsos, Presa Canarios, Argentine Dogos, Great Danes. Although I personally love Great Danes, but I have a rule of thumb that, and I think this is something a lot of people forget, they lose sight of. Whenever you're looking for a dog for your kid, you should not get a dog that is so big and so powerful that in case the unthinkable happens, the child can't escape or fight the dog off. This is a problem, I think, in the United States, particularly with what's going on with today's pit bulls. Now, I kept kicking around the idea of what to get, this, that, and the other, and the dangerous dogs. But the one dog that kept coming up over and over and over again was a pit bull. On the flip side, I have seen articles that say one of the best dogs you can get for your kid is a pit bull. Okay, it's either the worst dog or it's the best dog. What is it about this dog? And I've known about pit bulls all the time for years. And I'll tell you very quickly about the first and admittedly only pit bull I have ever met was a pit bull named Sluggo back in my hometown. Okay, met a friend, and then she invited me over. I think it was in January of about 2000. She invited me over to her. No. Oh gosh, no, way earlier than that. That was 91, 92. That was, oh my gosh, that was a long time ago. Anyway, but I met this dog. And the night before I went to their house, she let me know, hey, we have a pit bull. Just so you know, he's the real deal American pit bull. Like the American pit bull terrier. Real deal. When you come over tomorrow, just so you know, we have a pit bull. Don't be afraid. He's going to be fine. Everything's fine. But when you come in, he's going to bark up a storm. Just don't act like you're intimidated by him. Just stand there and let him do his thing. He's going to come up, he's going to sniff you, and that's all he's going to do. And then he's going to walk away. So I did exactly that. I stood there. As I was instructed, I walked through the door, and I can hear Sluggo the whole way from the other side of the house. all the way from through the living room and down through the main entrance, where there was a what do you call it? A shoe boot room. I can't remember what that's called. But there I am. I'm standing there, and he just comes flying around the corner, and I'm like, right? And she's like, relax, and I just did. I just stood there. I didn't move. And he comes up and he smells me, and he's like, okay, you're fine. And he walks away, and he's got his tail wagging, and he takes off. All right, that was fine. But since then, I had a really good relationship with Sluggo, but I can't tell you that there was ever a time in which I felt completely at ease with Sluggo. He never harmed me. He never attacked me. He never growled at me. He was just Sluggo. And he was like, I keep saying this all the time, he was the consummate goofball of a pit bull that pit owners dream of. Any dog owner would dream of. I mean, he was a goofball, right? So that was my first and only experience that I have had with a pit bull, admittedly. Okay? Now, moving on. When I started to realize that people kept saying on one camp, this is one of the best dogs you can get for your kid. No, this is one of the worst dogs you can get for your kid. I realized I had to do my own research. And that's what kind of propelled me into this whole battle, if you will. Okay? So I started doing some research, and I started to find out that there are, after, year and a half, 2 years or so of studying this topic, that there are two realities when it comes to pit bulls. Okay? Excuse me, I'm getting a little dry. The first reality when it comes to pit bulls is that, oh my God, can they be a sweetheart of a dog? These videos and pictures that you see of pit bulls, they have kids climbing all over them. They have a baby laying on their chest. Like the one image that I see every now and then is a baby laying on the chest of this gigantic pit bull. Okay? And he's just like, he doesn't want to move because he's just letting the baby sleep. Oh, my God, are you kidding me? That's an amazing dog. And you see, what is it, Hulk on, I don't know the guy's name, but you see this gigantic pit bull. And this dog, it just, for all intents and purposes, as intimidating and as imposing as he looks like a freaking sweetheart, right? So that's one reality of the pit bull. It's just an amazingly sweet dog, right? That's not up for debate. I mean, everybody knows this. However, there was another reality to the pit bull that pit advocates don't, I don't know if they are, I swear I'm not trying to sound like a dick, but I don't know if they're trying to be woefully ignorant and dig their heels in and just push back just for the sake of pushing back. I don't know what's going on there, but whenever you see what happened in Miramar a few days ago with Liana Valino, whenever something like this happens, there are three basic arguments that they come out with. Okay? First and foremost is that it's the owner's fault. Okay? And I will grant you that, yes, no matter what the breed is, you should never leave a child, especially a baby, alone in a room with a dog. It doesn't matter what the breed is. Okay? That's something I think both pro and anti-pit groups agree on. Never leave a dog, regardless of the breed, alone in a room with a child. Okay? So, people will blame the owner. If they don't blame the owner, they will blame the victim of the attack. I have seen comments that are so heinous that they actually blame the baby or the victim, no matter how young the victim is. They will blame the victim for triggering the dog into attacking. These attitudes, to me, are absolutely appalling and heinous and disgusting and thoughtless. Because if that's your reasoning, I don't know how to even begin to show you the error of the way of the thought process here. I can't even begin to, like, I wish I could. I don't know how to. The third argument that they will throw out is that it's a matter of misidentification, breed misidentification. So again, here we are with Liana Velino. Dog attacks her. I don't know if it was one pit bull or 3 pit bulls. I keep hearing these different stories. It was 1 pit bull. It was 3 pit bulls. It was the mother pit bull and her 2 offspring that attacked Liana. I don't know. Okay, I keep hearing these mixed reports. I don't know. But what I do know is that like clockwork, there are the defenders of this dog, of pit bulls. They come out of the woodwork, and they will say I've already read it. Damn it, I've already read it. Where they're saying, oh, it wasn't a pit bull, it was a Presa Canario. It's confirmed it was a pit bull. Presa Canarios are a lot bigger than a pit bull. Now, if I'm wrong, somebody show me that I'm wrong, that the dog that killed Liana Velino was a Presa Canario and not a pit bull. I could be wrong, but by all accounts that I've read, this was a pit bull. I think it was a brindle. It had a brindle coat to it. At that. So, when getting back to my son, when I realized that these mixed accounts of what is a good dog, what's a bad dog to get for your kid, when I started to realize this, that was when I got into this whole idea of how what does a pit bull do? Why is it so horrific? Why do people revere it? Why do people love it so much? Why do some people have this deep-seated fear and hatred of pit bulls? And I come to realize this is why. Because these dogs they have it in them. Okay? And so after all this research and looking at and studying case study after case study after case study after case study, and reading hospital reports of children that were mauled, even not unto death, but they were mauled, and reading these reports of these pit bulls that attack these children, and it doesn't have to be children. It can be any number of people. It can be an adult. And then the next video I'm going to make after this, I'm going to talk about, it was a young woman. Okay? So, but that's the thing. These case studies that I've read over and over and over again, by and large, for the most part, these reports, they are so identical to each other, even though it happens from state to state to state to state to state, or neighborhood to neighborhood, the stories tend to be the same. Whenever there was an attack, Um, it's one of complete shock by the owner. And whenever we see like a neighbor, you'll watch these reports by a neighbor, and they'll say, I'm completely shocked because that dog was just playing with these kids yesterday. And they were pulling on his ears and pulling on his tail, and he was fine. And they've had that dog for years. And I can't believe this happened. That dog was the sweetest dog I've ever met in my life. That's the case over and over again. Ad nauseum. It almost never changes. So, long story short, and I kind of tend to ramble a little bit, and I'm sorry for that. But long story short, this is the reason why I decided to get into this fight. Because too few people, whenever something like this happens, too few people from the American Pit Bull group, or it doesn't matter which group it is, too few people care about the victim. And there's a lot of people that I tend to call out. Okay, the American Pit Bull Foundation, I call them out. Okay, and you're going to be getting some grief from me. I'm not going to do anything to you, but I will. Whenever I see something happen, I'm going to call you out on it. If I see something that's good, I'm going to praise you for it. But bottom line, if I see bullshit, I'm going to call you out on your bullshit. Okay? But this is why I decided to get in this fight, is because I have a child, and I can't imagine the pain of losing a child to an animal that you trusted incessantly and you loved with all of your heart. And one day, that beloved animal becomes your worst nightmare. This is the reality of the pit bull. This is the reality of many dogs. German Shepherds, even Golden Retrievers. Golden Retrievers can kill people. There's a report not too long ago, several years ago, where there's a Golden Retriever that this couple had a newborn, and they've had this Golden Retriever that was a mix. They took this baby, put it in its bassinet, and the dog got into the room and killed the baby. It was a Golden Retriever mix. Okay, that's horrible. So it's not just confined to Golden Retrievers, or Pit Bulls. It's across the spectrum. But the argument here isn't about, and I keep saying this until I'm blue in the face. The argument here isn't whether or not it's not about which dog is most likely to bite. Again, people keep throwing out the Chihuahua as the dog that's most likely to bite. They keep pointing at the case out of Oklahoma. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name right now. I think it was Mrs. Garcia, or Miss Garcia. She was killed by a pack of dogs, and now everybody's looking, oh, look at that. They were dachshunds. They weren't dachshunds. Okay, if those were dachshunds, that's a brand new breed of dachshund. I've never seen them before in my life. Okay, and those dogs were over 60 pounds. At least a couple of them, they were over 60 pounds. A veterinarian concluded this. So, this is something that I care about. This is something that I've decided to try to take on and try to keep people informed about. This is my story. I have a child. I don't have a dog yet. But when we do get a dog, I guarantee you that I'm going to do the absolute best research that I can to have the best companion that I can find for my child. And me and my wife. Okay? So, that's my story. This is why I decided to get into this fight. And I'm a little long-winded, and I'm sorry about that. But This is something that I feel compelled to speak out about. A lot of people think that I'm wasting my time doing this because, you know, as a lot of people say, 99.99% of the dogs out there, particularly pit bulls, never attack anybody. But the thing about it is, over and over again, you hear incessantly that the percentage of attacks that happen, it's about, on average, about 50 to 60% of the attacks that happen in North America, fatal or otherwise, are committed by pit bulls. And all other breeds combined don't come close to matching the body count, frankly, and the amount of carnage that is left behind after a pit bull attack. So, that being said, I thank you for watching, and, you know, love me, hate me, admire me, whatever you do, I don't really care. But I'm sick of bullshit, and I'm sick of people not accepting reality on either side of this argument. So this argument is too big, and this issue is too big, and it's too important to just walk away from. So thanks for watching. Have a good day. Bye-bye.